I should really be more upset than I am because this character stood me up, but I'm not upset. I'm a little miffed, but I'm not upset. Of course, I'm deleting him and blocking him because I just walked across the street from my house to the mall, which is Applebee's. Like, no big deal. I wore a dress that is just throw over the head, a sweater dress. No problem. You know, and I'm wearing the same wig that I wore for the last 2 days. So nothing special for this guy because actually, you know, he's really nothing to look at. I wasn't particularly enthralled anyway. So, you know, no big deal. Life goes on. It's just annoying how these men are today. And then, you know, some of them say, oh, you want to meet me in the city? Yeah, meet you in the city. Like, I'm going to get dressed up, go meet you in the city, in your territory, and then there's a possibility that you don't show up. No, ladies, listen to me. When you're meeting a man, you always, this is rule number 1. You meet them across the streets. You don't drive more than 5 minutes maximum. 5 minutes, okay, maybe 10 minutes, maybe 10. When I meet them at the diner or Applebee's, okay? Because I'm not getting dressed if you're not going to buy me lunch or an early dinner, okay? If you can't afford to buy a lady a plate of food, I'm not getting dressed up and decked out to entertain you. So let's be very clear. These, you know, these men are really impossible these days. So you have to set the standard. And if all women set the same standard, then we'd all be in much better shape over here. There's no coffee. I'm not 90. I'm not meeting you for coffee and cake, all right? Let's just stop that, like, right there at the outset. So fine. Because if you can't afford Applebee's or a diner, that's pathetic. Then you should not be on a date. You're not dating material. That's all. Very simple. So, first rule. When you meet them, 5-10 minute drive. Just figure out a place that's nearby. That's rule numero uno. Then, if you don't have their phone number, when you sit down, you should at least get their phone number. Because like this anonymous stuff is like, no. The best guy is going to give you his phone number when he makes the plan. And if he doesn't volunteer to give you his phone number, then there's a big chance he might not show up, because this is something he does to women. It's his own passive-aggressive, misdirected aggression. So, you know, there are guys that just do this. They'll just set up a date and not show up. And so, just to protect yourself, the best course of action is, in this case, I didn't even care. But honestly, to get a phone number. And if they're not offering, you know, just say, you know what, on second thought, if you're not going to offer your number, then it's just a red flag. Let's just, you know, table it. Do not text these men more than 6 texts until they make a plan to meet you. Because all they're doing is using you for their entertainment and their ego enhancements, while you are getting all, you know, invested in these conversations. So 6 texts, that's it. You can't meet me after 6 texts. And they really ought to be offering the phone number. They ought to have a Facebook profile, which a lot of these guys do not, because they're operators. They're players from the Himalaya. So they don't have a Facebook profile. I'm a private person. Yeah, baloney story. That's a bunch of malarkey. No, it's not that. It's that I'm playing. So I don't want to be on social media where you could find out what I'm really up to. So that's another red flag. No Facebook profile. Okay? Also, so you have to look out for these things. Now, it is true some people are not on Facebook and they live under a rock. This is some people true. So everyone gets the benefit of the doubt, although those without a Facebook profile really have to be subject to further scrutiny. So I would suggest, if you ever have a second meeting with them, get their license plate number, their phone number, and launch a full investigation, because that's what I always do. Full investigation. The second date, you could also ask them to meet you somewhere, because I've done that also, especially if they're not on. What's with the lights in my face? What's this idiot doing? A light right in my face. Like, what is wrong with these people? Just don't get it. No, it's crazy. No. have gone shopping in the mall. I haven't been here in so long, but I really don't need anything. Then I'll buy something and I'll have nowhere to put it. Because I have no room left in my house for another item. How about that? Hi guys, I just had to jump on here before I went to sleep tonight. Because what a past 2 weeks it's been. Now I left off where I was driving in the car, and this is like a part 2. The last guy stood me up altogether, then he vanished off the website. So we know that guy was either involved, married, or some multiple attachment story. We'll call him the Applebee guy. All right, that guy, finito, never met him. Now the handsome guy, that's really turned into a nightmare. This is why you cannot, under any circumstances, allow these guys even to cross the threshold of your humble abode or any other humble abode, if you know what I mean. With that said, this character thought he was going to ask me out on a Friday at 11:37 in the morning for that weekend. That's a huge red flag. And I know he's a player from the Himalaya because I have the receipts, which I will tell you how I obtained that in the next video. So don't miss that, because that is something you'll have to be sitting in order to process. Trust me. But I'm going to wait for that little nugget because that is something to beat the bands. So I told him 5 hours later, I responded that, alas, it's too late for me to make plans with you. I already have other commitments. So he says, all right, so when are you available? So I said, Tuesday at 6 o'clock, 1800 hours. He said, okay, I should be able to make it. Like, he's so busy at 71 years old. Like, what? What could a 71-year-old man be doing? I'll tell you what. Getting a PSA test or finding out what his testosterone level is. Because that's what a lot of these men, not all men, but that's what a lot of these men are focused on. Alrighty. So this character is going to confirm on Monday. Let's confirm on Monday for the big night, Tuesday at 1800 hours, which I said 6 p.m. because I don't want this guy to get confused. I was thinking, how could I get out of this entanglement? Should I just ghost this guy? Or should I just text him, you know what, there's no real connection here. Because I know he's such a player from the Himalaya. Even at 71, he thinks he can skate by on his looks alone. And is going through women like I go through Haagen-Dazs ice cream. I did not hear a word from him. Crickets. Crickets. Fine, no problem. So he's done me a favor. And of course, never, ladies, never, under any circumstances, do you text a man. If he got hit by a car or run over by something or walked into a door or, you know, whatever, tripped over a pebble in the street, cracked his head, got a concussion and landed up in the emergency room, this is not your concern because you're not his mother, okay? Bad news travels fast. I'm not heartless, but trust me, if anything happened to these guys, you'd read about it on page 6 in the Post, okay? 71-year-old man, coronary in some hotel room with, I don't know, a 46-year-old woman. Of ill repute. Okay, but we don't want to blame it on the woman because we know how a lot of these guys are real, you know, smooth operators. Well, let's be honest. I wrote the book that they're reading. After all, I'm a shrink. Okay, retired, but we're always on the job. So great. This is the end of that guy. Turn that page. I'm actually going to start a notebook because I'm up to number 6. That's this Wednesday night. I'm meeting this new character at the diner. Now, I was unprepared because I spoke to him on the phone. No FaceTime, just regular phone call. And he had the worst voice I've ever heard. And yet he tells me that he sings. But he didn't become a singer. He became an accountant. Well, not an accountant, but that's close enough. Working for the government. He said, I'm glad I did. I decided to go back to school and get my degree and work for the government and whatever he does in finance, because even though I thought I would have a career in singing, and you know what? They offered me a singing job for a commercial and I turned it down, but I'm glad I did, because that really had no future, and how would I know where that would lead? And I'm listening to this guy with the scratchiest, most terrible voice I've ever heard, like short across a blackboard. And I'm like, this guy sings? If this guy sings like he speaks, then it's a good thing that he opted for that career in finance, let me tell you. So I tried to end the call after 20 minutes because he just wouldn't stop talking. It was like a locomotive. So I'm not a phone person. Unless it's one of my girlfriends, then I become a phone person. That's a delightful conversation. Alrighty, so I'm seeing this guy at the diner where I hope they won't remember me, or maybe I'll wear a different wig. And don't think I'm telling these guys I wear wigs, because why bother? I see them one time and it's one and done. Why go through all of that? And if they have a Facebook profile and they're not in the witness protection program, which most of them seem to be, then they know I wear wigs, because, like, you know, the whole Facebook page is raining wigs. So that's not even been like any kind of an issue. Why bother going through any kind of dialogue about it when you're not even going to see the guy more than, you know, one and finito. See you later, alligator. Sayonara. Don't let the door hit you on the you-know-where. Going to sleep. And I'll see you guys after Wednesday. Also, I will have another tutorial on how to curl synthetic wigs very easily. You're going to love this one because it does not involve a bonnet hair dryer like my other videos do. I discovered a new method. All right then. Good night and stay safe. Don't talk to strangers.